Would you like to know more?
Welcome back to episode 3 of Warmaster podcast, Adventures in 3D Printing. Today we're doing Warmaster, which is what everybody wants really. That's why we're all here. That's what we're here. And we have some forest dragon skeletons. Skellingtons. I'll talk through how my printing went, and but first, this is what you want to see. You want to see what do the Skellingtons look like. Now, spear tips. They're certainly more dark elf than high elf, which anybody that knows anything about the GW miniatures will know the pain of playing high elves and having all the spear tips break off. So these are nice chunky spear tips. This is just what you want. There's a little bit of flex in them. Maybe I'll try and break some in a minute, but not the ones I've primed. So I printed these overnight, washed and cleaned them and cured them for 2 minutes, and then gave them the old Zenith undercoat, which is my usual. You might see a few stringy bits because I undercoat them quite quickly. So sometimes you get a little bit of string. That's nothing to do with the printing because these don't have supports or anything that you need to trim off. So can you see the spine? I like the spine. Obviously the ribs are cool. And you'd be able to bleach bone most of this. So there's a little bit here. Let me see if I can get my tool. Little bit here. That is not a flaw in the printing. That is a flaw of my undercoating. Because I'm quite heavy-handed. I go at it quite quickly. Nice cracked skulls. Nice teeth. I mean, things like those teeth. How on earth would you get? Look at those teeth. Beautiful. Chris Orr would be proud of those teeth. In fact, he may have... This guy, in the end, he might have had to go private to get a set of gnashes as nice as that. During the madness we're living in, there's nobody going to come out of this with teeth as nice as these fellas. Look at them. Beautiful. And some bastion skulls. So, look at that. Arrow. Oh, that's a big hit, isn't it? That's beautiful. Beautiful. So, that's one stand. We'll go through some other stands. Aha. So, this guy here. Nice helmet. This guy's still got hair. Freshly dead. Maybe he's like some kind of... What was the guy out of Point Break? Maybe it's him. With his beautiful locks. How's he kept his hair when he's dead? He's a fantastic looking chap there. There's a bit of lines on the shield here. Maybe there's something going on. I need to sort my settings out because there appear to be some lines on here. I do need to say now that the print did fail, and I'm not sure what the reason for that was. But I'll talk when I've showed you the miniatures. I'll show you some of the fails and some of the things I had to do about the fail. This guy here, he's lost an eye socket, hasn't he? He's taken one hell of a beating. I know who he reminds me of. This fella here. He reminds me of oh my God, what's his name? The guy that runs Stringfellows. Peter Stringfellow. Maybe that's who it is. God damn. Right. What have we got going on here? Well, this guy's barely out of the ground. So you got toes. I don't know how much more detail I could really realistically handle. Over the summer, I was painting some Battle of the Five Armies plastics that you get in the box set. And they are proper rough, like really rough. And full of mould lines and stuff. So, I mean, one thing you don't have to worry about here, there are some issues. I can definitely see some lines in the printing here, so there's definitely something going on last night. So you don't have to clean off mould lines, and you don't have to clean off flash or any of that kind of stuff, because you shouldn't be getting any of that if it's working well. So I got only 5 of the 12 units I printed came out successfully last night, and I don't know if that's because I didn't have enough resin in my vat. I don't know if that's because I didn't have my machine set up properly. The one thing about 3D printing is there are a million variables. But one thing it did mean is this morning when I woke up, that my first job was to empty my resin vat and clean it and get all the gunk that was stuck off the FEP sheet, which, as I've said before, is a consumable because it will get damaged. So this guy here, this is the resin that I'm using. So it's Anycubic Basic Clear, and the reason this guy's not made it onto the getting undercoated section is because they stuck to the base because they printed directly on the print bed it's called, and they stuck, and I had to work quite hard to get them off, and I damaged the base of this fella on the corner and also his little legs, so he's not making the cut. I'm quite mean, aren't I? Most people would have just said, nah, just stick it on. But not for me. Not for me. I want them to look nice. There were some broken bases. You can probably see a little bit on one of the ones I printed here. But if I could get them back together, like this one I got back together with minimal visible, and a bit of, when I flock that, and it'll be that's in the middle of the base anyway, when the front rank's on, so you're not going to see that. But this guy, as he was hanging off the edge, and he's likely to come loose at some point, I thought it's probably best not to bother painting this because there's quite a lot of work involved in painting. Okay, and I'll show you the banners. This is where the real problem came last night, and I'm not sure why. I've spoken to the kind people at Forest Dragon, and they say this isn't one of the normal kind of teething issues, so maybe it is something that's gone wrong. Maybe my vat wasn't full enough, or because it appears to have lost all of these bits. So these were printed at the edge of the print bed on one side, the banners, and so maybe that is what's caused the issue. I don't think it overhung the print bed, so I don't think that's the reason it stopped, but maybe the resin is the depth of the resin is thinner at the edges. Maybe I'm just speculating, than in the center, and that is why both my banners failed to print. On the plus side, I will talk about maybe tomorrow, as I'm not printing. I'm going to have a day off printing because I've emptied my vat, so I'm going to have a think and a chat before I refill the vat and get back into printing. So maybe tomorrow I'll talk a little bit through the sculpts, the STL files, because you for the skeletons you get 5 variant strips of infantry. You also get effectively 4 different command groups, so 4 different banners, and that means that if you've got a brigade of 4 skeletons, they're all identifiable by their banners, which tends to be how I identify my units. So I'll have a unit, and the last stand I'll take off is the banner, and if they're in line, the banner is in the middle, and if they're in column, the line is at the front. The banner's at the front, and that's how I identify my units. So the fact that there are 4 different designs of the banner stand means that each brigade, each unit in the brigade should be easily identifiable. So these two, as you can see, are failed in exactly the same kind of way, but they were both out on the same flank of the print bed. So maybe it's something I need to sort out. Maybe it was just I had a feeling that it didn't sound right when when it's printing, because it takes a couple of hours. You keep popping in and out, and after about an hour, I could sense something wasn't quite right, but I didn't know how to correct it. I didn't know how to pause and refill the machine, and the resin was out in the garage and the machine's indoors, so the resin wouldn't have been at the right temperature to just add to the vat. So I just let it run its course, and then I'll try and fix it going forward. So we got another little one here. This is only a very minor fail here. So this just the end of this staff, end of this spear. It's not staff. End of this spear didn't print. Everything else printed. But maybe we can. That's quite good, because I might be able to still use that somehow on a raised dead unit, which I'm just going to paint as like ghosty greens. So let's do a little stress test here. Oh, there's a bit of foreign material in there. So for this little piece that I managed to break into many pieces when I was pulling it off the print bed, maybe you can do a stress test and see how much pressure I have to put on to snap these. It's pretty good. I mean, it's not something I can't manage, being so heavy-handed. But if you put that amount of pressure on some metals, then they may well snap. Especially some of the worst miniature designs I've ever seen were the Battle of Five Armies again. Some of the elf cavalry. There is a model where the lances are pointing upwards, and I've seen 4 copies of that miniature, and I've only ever seen one that's not broken. And if you drop that miniature, it will break. Guaranteed. If it lands anywhere near that front part, it will break. So we've done a stress test now. Reasonable amount of force, but if you drop them, they'll probably break if they hadn't lang on the spear tip. But that could quite easily happen if you were in metal or... I mean, resin's resin, isn't it? It would happen with regular resin. So I'm going to have a day off tomorrow. I might show you some pictures of the STLs and stuff, and maybe Chitu box or the photon, whatever it's called, the photon splicing program, something as generically named as that. And then we'll get back onto printing. I will try and rerun these skeletons on my next print, and I will try and get better results, try and get the full units to print out, because as nice as it is to have 5 stands, and that's not even a unit, is it? I still need a banner, and I definitely don't want to have to be fighting with cleaning the print beds, because as I've said in the few videos I've done, if you do lose a print, that the print fails, that's quite a demoralizing thing, because you can't just ignore it, you have to deal with it. So you then have to have time available to get in there and clean it up. Thank you, Forest Dragon, for supplying the STLs that I've managed to play with today, and I look forward to printing some more. We've got some bats and some ghouls and a necromancer and a vampire hero, or general, I guess you could use them as, and November's just around the corner, so hopefully we can see what amazing stuff they're doing in November.